I tell you something. I've got the best today on YouTube.
Who's in the chat? So hello, Lee.
Hey, Lee.
Hello guys, and welcome to tonight's stream. Excellent conversations. All whatever you like, guys. But I see the regulars are in the chat. A few who I'm sure will try and get us cancelled by then.
Yeah, but he hasn't got a Line of Duty character to take the mick out of tonight, so we might be okay.
Oh, come on, Matt.
And PD Rich Todd this time, and then Aaron, thanks, and it is also so let me introduce the panel. So we've got my other hosted channel Insha Arrow, who's had a very fun on time. Haven't you?
Well, I've had a fun week. Let's put it that way with my job. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, and awesome. And so and I guess I so provide a bit of a distraction because I know you've got on with your job at the minute.
Well, it's just fun to talk like fun stuff and not shout at certain people I have to shout at work. Let's put it that way.
Well, you shout at me anyway. So.
Well, no, I don't do that on streams. I usually do that when you do something stupid, and on Messenger I shout at you.
And I'm making a debut on the channel as in it's welcome to the channel, and it's great to finally have you on. We are supposed to get you on last year, but we ran out of time, basically.
Oh yeah, it's you guys. It's an absolute honor. I'm delighted to be on, and I've been looking forward to this all week because, similar to Charlotte, it's my week has just been one of those weeks in work. So I was very happy to log off today.
So to take things off with tonight's discussion, as it's your first time on the channel, when what was your reaction to the Russell Davison announcement? Because I haven't actually spoke to you properly about that yet. So what was your initial reaction to that announcement?
My initial reaction was, thank God. Because it was like, is this really happening? Is this really happening? Is Russell actually coming back? So yeah, my first reaction was relief. The feeling that Doctor Who is back in the hands of people that understand how to present it to the public in the best possible way for a modern audience. I mean, there's a lot of water under the bridge with Russell's time and also with Stephen Moffat's time. Obviously, there's been some good highlights and there's been some lowlights, but overall, I think. But overall, I think it's the best possible outcome. I think for now, I think we definitely couldn't be in better hands for now. You know, to bring us back up to some kind of watchable show.
Again, that's similar to my thoughts as well. And I don't know if you actually managed to catch Ormany or anyways on the third this zone chatting all about RTE coming back into the fold now. Apparently, according to Ormany, it was PDF. There was PDF. There was PDF documents regarding what type of doctor the RTE will be most to prioritizing, and he basically wants a male according to what Omni said in that according to what Orminator said in that stream, and because he's already written a few episodes of this era already, because as you know, Russell's very hands-on, or just so we're just hanging fire and waiting on the announcement.
Yeah,
so,
and I just think, just to quickly add, like what Gorm was saying was, it wasn't just a male doctor, was it? And it wasn't precisely said that. It was basically, which is what we've all been saying for years, is that the current era has damaged the show to an incredibly high level. Like the amount of damage the current era is doing means that they can't just sort of go to the next era like normal. They have to do something drastic. And what Terminator was saying was, obviously, this is source stuff, we can't say 100%, but he was hearing things and seeing maybe possibly some things, which was basically a rescue plan, which was a treatment, which was a rescue. This is what we're going to do to fix the show. And
exactly.
the vibe was basically, what Russell did in 2005, but updated. For obviously things
Yeah.
have changed a lot since 2005. You can't do the same
That's
thing
right.
again.
You can't. You
Yeah.
no. You're right.
So it was basically, if Russell take the idea of Rose, and I think that
Yeah.
what I got from it was very much, we're going to go back to what works. We're going to go back to traditional
Mhm.
Doctor Who. And I
Yeah.
think, and by inference, I think for us and for a lot of people, that means
Mhm.
you go back to a male doctor with a female companion, and you sort of
Yeah.
Yeah.
go back to basics a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. Any rescue plan has to have some kind of reset attached to it to bring back audiences, to reinvigorate the commercial arm of things, to get people interested in buying Doctor Who merchandise again. And I mean really interested, because there's obviously those of us who still buy classic merchandise and things
Yeah.
like that. But there's a difference between hardcore fans who will still buy merchandise
Yeah.
and aisles and aisles of Doctor Who merchandise that we used to see in like Asda and some of the other stores,
Yeah.
where, you know, it was aisles of it, you know, and it was Doctor
Yeah.
Who everything, and people were buying it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to be done. And I think, I have no idea for sure, but my gut feeling, and I
Yeah.
suppose I know what I would do in that situation, would be to go back to the original formula that worked before, a male
Yeah.
doctor. And he can, and I still think, as you said, because 2005 is in the past now, we're
Yeah.
in a different time. I still think that it can be, with the right person and with a clever person in charge like Russell, he can update it,
Yeah.
but keep the enthusiasm high for the show again.
Yeah.
And if they choose, after the show has been reinvigorated, and they manage, if they manage to bring audiences back again successfully, then they can start looking carefully at how they might decide to go in different directions in the future. But they need to bring it back to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and you've already seen that they've announced all these different word games and role playing games, and all around Matt's and the Weeping Angels and all the other previous era us, because they know that they were a ticker either doesn't like Phil, doesn't like Phil merchant. I saw that great, as you've seen, and and the franchise has become like a business. The show has become almost like a business. It's no longer just a show, because you've got all the this merchandise that you have to sell, and then the licensees are close to pulling out of it. So that's
Yeah.
why there was such a drastic change and a hostile sort of over, to be honest.
Well, we were
Yeah.
saying the lockdowns. We all remember when the lockdown stuff was happening, the watch-alongs and the little like extra things.
Yeah.
I don't know what you felt like, Wendy, but a few of us at the time were saying, okay, Russell suddenly coming back and writing for Doctor Who, even if it was just a little short. It was like Moffat's getting involved, and it just felt a little bit like this was almost taking the thunder away from Chibnall then.
It
And
was. Yeah, I
this is
remember when
before
we
the
heard that.
announcement. And
Yeah.
and I can't help but think at that time, was
Yeah.
this them sort of dipping their toe in? And then seeing sort of the lay of the land, and then maybe later on Russell was the one who goes, "No, I'm going to be the one to come back and save the show. Like, I'm going to take that on."
Almost like, saying, "Hi guys, hang on for a little while longer. Just we're here.
Yeah,
we're here. Hang on.
Here you go. Here's my writing just to remind you of what I could do, or what I can do, almost.
Yeah.
Because Russell, because I know JT, we love him on Type 40. He did like that Sarah Jane thing, but that got a very good reaction. The Farewell Sarah Jane short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That really got a good reaction from the fans.
Yeah, I mean, even had to the Scottish Davros even having a year in his eye, so...
And that's not easy to do, folks. That's not easy.
No, it's not.
I'll sort you out. You fella.
Yeah, and I'll get you back on the next Line of Duty stream.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Oh, and so, speaking of, speaking of, to kind of move the conversation on a bit, because Charlotte, you probably know a bit more about this than me. But like you know how I'm quite pally with a Elsa that does auditing and all these other chats. Well, he saw something that a series 7 could be would be in the could be in the pipeline.
They teased it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's official. The BBC have not come out and said anything, but some of the actors, I think, what was it? They got an award. I don't know which one it was. I don't know if it's the National Television Awards, where they got quite a few. And like in their acceptance speech, I think Martin and somebody else said something. So fans, obviously being fans, like Line of Duty fans, are very rabid and they love the show.
Yeah.
We're very quick to pick up on it. So I think it's the actors have teased some things.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously, even just started on series 1 not that long ago. So, like, what are your initial thoughts on it? And today as well, because you're a relative newcomer to the show, like myself. It's very odd that Charlotte. It's kind of the expert.
I've been really enjoying it, and I have to admit, I don't think I would have taken the time to go back and watch it from the beginning had you guys not started reviewing it. And I'm really glad you did, because it's so well done, and the casting, some of the characters that obviously continue through each series who stay are so good, and they're so you just become very attached to them. And I like how every series also changes up some of the other characters so that it makes it feel a bit fresh each time. So you're not looking at every single character, not changing for each series. So, the current one's been interesting because it's been a little bit different than some of the other ones. Definitely a more slightly slower pace maybe than some of the other ones, but I'm enjoying it as well. It's definitely a nice distraction from other things as well. So, in fact, we're back into like cop show mood at the moment as well, because we started. Dan reviewed. We reviewed the first episode of Life on Mars, didn't we, the other day? And we've started watching that again, because as soon as we watched the first episode, we'd already seen it ourselves. I'd seen it once all the way through. and Darren has seen it twice. So this is his third watching now, and we're glued to it. We just can't stop watching it. So it's nice to sort of change up what you're watching.
Yeah, and I think both Line of Duty and Life on Mars, I think, understand that because there's been so many like police shows and so many procedurals that you need something different nowadays to sort of make you stand out. And obviously with Life on Mars, it's the aesthetic, it's the sort of the mystery of, is he back in time? Like, what's going on? Like, as the whole mystery on top of it. And with Line of Duty, it's I think the difference with Line of Duty is it's a different type of police work. We're not usually you see the policemen go after everyday criminals. You don't usually see the interplay and the sort of police investigating police. What Line of Duty is.
It's more than all sort of side of it. It's more the corruption and like every character's just a terrible human being.
And I think what I love about Line of Duty and why I think that the obviously Vicky McClure, Martin Constant, and Adrian Dunbar, why they're getting so much work now is because they play such complex, and what I like about those characters and the actors, because they can do it, is they're not nice, like they're not your traditional like heroic police like characters that you usually get in this sort of show. They're just like dark, and they can be just as sort of not nice and a bit sort of, you go, oh God, like why have you done that? So it makes them different, I think.
I think it makes them human. It humanizes them tremendously because they're not perfect. They make mistakes. They have, sort of secrets and things that go wrong in their lives behind the scenes. And I think that's what makes them quite appealing and relatable on a lot of levels. Nobody wants to sort of tune in and just see like perfect, the perfect characters that are all quite shiny and quite, just perfect all the time. These characters are really complex, like you said, Charlotte, and they keep your interest.
And in case you go further on into the series, a few favorites always end up getting out off. I think
he always picks the weirdos. Look at his favourites, people. They're like the damnest weirdos.
Because he seemed to enjoy. He seems to enjoy taking the piss out. It's became his comedy act in the chat, so he's not had actual. He's not had actual. Always so sees a comedy. He have been older.
Yeah, but you say that, but you were really not happy when they killed Dot. Like after when you watched that episode, you were like not happy before we did the stream, and I was like, this is going to be interesting when we stream about it.
But to me, it can, but here's my rationale. It kind of felt like a series sort of Earl in a sense. So like a film series what it's kind of like a soft. It's kind of no like a soft it's kind of like a soft you put in a sense to me it has a sort of feel there. It's a sort of reboot because
but Daniel, you didn't have to see that actor subjected to Chibnall writing. You thought it was painful seeing him get killed off in Line of Duty. You try and watch him have that idiot write for him.
Oh, Jesus, thank you. I never saw that.
Yeah, we'll count our blessings
I
there.
was going to say, how did you feel, Wendy?
Yeah.
Because I can't remember. Did you watch any of Flux, or did you just watch reviews?
No, I didn't watch any of Flux. We watched her very first season, with quite an open mind, and it just didn't gel for us. It just didn't hold our attention and interest. So we haven't watched anything since. So we're just sort of, listening to reviews and it's easy to sort of get a sense of why things haven't worked, because it was all there in the very first series anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the problems have sort of just got multiplied.
Yeah.
With little bits of improvement, and then you go back to usual service.
Yeah.
But no, that was, to be fair, when that trailer dropped, and Daniel was like, "Oh, they've got Dot in it," and I was like, "Yeah, they're gonna ruin. Just don't expect."
Yeah.
Like, Craig will try his best because he can play villains. That's what he's good at.
Yeah. Because Charlotte actually got a few angry do you think and Capital possibly
I'm trying to remember. I'm sure one was no, not Dot, and I was like, "Come on." He's a BBC actor. At some point, he probably was going to get dragged into this.
I mean, thank him wasn't on camera that day because I was about ready to. I was about ready to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got that, and I don't know if you got.
I could tell you really weren't happy, but there was 2 Line of Duty people actually in Flux. So there was 2 people.
Really?
That like, oh, I really know you 2 can be so much better when you've got better material. Oh no! Because I'm not going to spoil it, but there was another Line of Duty actress set from Craig.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, you better not spoil it because it's still I did spoiled X7 for me, and I've not went back to it since, and it's a pretty big spoil.
Yeah.
So thanks for that idea. If you're watching, yeah.
So sorry, Lee. Even though you keep trying, it's been spoiled for Daniel.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get him to watch it eventually. But I understand where you're coming from.
If nobody, if anybody's going to get him to watch it, it'll be Lee because Lee's Lee, and it's.
Yes. Come on, Lee.
I just get a wall of messages in the chat now about Blake 7 because we've mentioned it.
So Charlotte, you've been kind of binge watching stuff on Felix and everything. Do you want to tell everybody what you've been watching?
Well, it's not easy to explain. It's called Stay Close, and it's based off a novel. And I think they've done quite a few. I checked after the fact of this fella's novels, but it is got a bit of police in it, so it has got that edge to it. But it's like a police thing, but it's very much about the lives, like a very small group of characters, sort of how they interact and how all they link to each other. And it's very much like one episode you'll find a secret or you'll find like a link to somebody else. Like I said, it's sort of like a thriller, but you've got the police stuff in it. But like I said, that's what I think. I think media's getting savvy now that police stuff has to be mixed with something else.
Yeah,
and I
think it gets old hat after a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it was the actors, to be fair, that sort of made you watch it.
Yeah, but see, to be honest, but they had to kind of he had to kind of make changes to the genre because see procedurals before like iPhone Mars and like and just it was a very sort of soap esque, and for the genre to survive, you were obviously only have to change the approach, the procedurals, to be
Oh yeah,
honest
no,
with
and
you.
like I said, it's thriller. It's got lots of twists and turns, but it's just the cast. I think that when I first saw who's in it, James Nesbitt. For people who
Yeah.
don't know him, he's a very well-known Scottish actor,
Yes, yeah,
and
know him.
he's sort of one of our sort of. I think he's getting up there now when it comes to sort of well-known British actors.
Mhm.
Richard Armitage,
Yeah.
who I
Oh,
first saw in Robin Hood years and years ago now. It's scary how
yeah,
long ago he was in that show.
that's
Yep.
right. And also Spooks as well.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not proper watch Spooks. It's something that I know of, but I've never proper watched.
That's another one. If you ever want to watch that, Charlotte, let us know because we definitely will talk about that with you as well. That's a brilliant series.
Oh, I've got so many things to watch now.
That's the problem. We need like several lifetimes to watch everything.
Oh, dude from The Hobbit, yeah. He was in the Hobbit movies, Richard Armitage, for more like international people.
Yeah, I enjoyed the Hobbit movies. I know they were a bit hit and miss with a few people, but I enjoyed them for what they are. Though the first the first couple of Hobbit movies are pretty all it's but like the third one is just absolutely shite though, to be honest. It felt like I mean it felt as though the Hobbit movie is just and to sort of
That was
extend
the problem.
sort of
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah, they dragged it out a bit, didn't they? It really should have been, condensed into one film, I think, and possibly two, but 3 was getting a bit silly.
Well, they had to add stuff as doing what obviously Lord of the Rings. I like fantasy, but maybe I've never been a Lord of the Rings person. But from what I can tell from people who do know that stuff, they had to add a lot apparently to make that third movie happen. Like that wasn't in the book.
What was interesting about the first 3 films, the Lord of the Rings films, was that it was kind of like back in the day when the first Star Wars trilogy came out. You were like really hyped to see the next one because it was new, and it was it was new in the sense that it was the spectacular adaptation that we've never seen, sort of brought onto that scale before. And it was so well done. So we were just like psyched for the next one to come out, and then the third one. Whereas by the time The Hobbit came around, I think people were a little bit like, oh, okay, we've kind of the sort of the awe factor was already sort of finished.
Yeah.
So I agree, Daniel. I think they're still entertaining movies, without a doubt. But I think by the time they came out, and the fact that they stretched it out a little bit too far kind of got a little bit like, oh, come on. It would have been cool to just see one spectacular blockbuster movie, or even if they had to sort of condense things a little bit.
Yeah, and it's and it's actually and you're actually seeing it with a lot of franchises now. A lot of people are not only just getting sick of the type of ideology that's been sort of injected and sort of like hammered in everything, but I think as well, people are getting sort of eat of franchises, to be honest. If you, because
I think though they're getting it's the fact that lots of the people who own these franchises just can't be imaginative with what they do. It's like they either remake it again or they do like a sort of prequel. It's like there doesn't seem to be something like I said, imaginative, or I suppose that's hard with some things that are so now had got so many movies behind them or other things behind them, but it's just sort of do something a bit different. I think that's what people are looking for, and they're struggling a little bit nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. I think we definitely need some new stuff where, you know, we're not always having to go back and, you know, recycle the same thing over and over and over again, told in a slightly different way each time, or with a different lead actor each time, because it does start to sort of cause fatigue after a while. You're just kind of like, oh, whatever, you know.
Yeah, and to be honest, Matthew, what I would say to you is give them a or anyway, don't people's views of a certain thing. Don't let people's views of a certain movie or actually influence your opinion. You've kind of got what it takes to experience it for yourself and sort of on your own conclusion and because that's basically I have had to be basically some off from or channels on this platform because they all seem to be peddling the same thing. Basically, about having things a chance. So what I would say to you, Matthew, is give them a oh and give them a oh and you have if you want to come on to the if you want to come on to the channel and have a and have a chat about it. I'm very open to having a chat. I mean, even people that I've had issues with, if you guys disagree with me, come onto the channel and chat about it, because I'm past all the sort of I'm past all the sort of like infighting. If people want to come onto the channel and chat, then by all means.
Sorry, I've got a cat, folks. That's why I keep looking down.
I thought I heard purring.
Yeah, she's got her claws stuck in my jumper now, so I'm trying to hold this and get a cat free. So 1 minute, folks. That's what I'm doing. So I'll be back in a second.
That's okay. We've got 3 here, so I know exactly what Charlotte is talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what you said makes a lot of sense, Daniel. And I think for Matthew, I said it's worth having a look at those movies. Yeah. I mean, technically, they're still beautiful. They're still, very entertaining to watch. But I think it's also a good idea to just take a break when you do feel like, you're just getting like oversaturated with other people's opinions. Is just like take a break and then come back and then watch what you want to watch and then, sort of apply your own take to it. There's nothing wrong with sort of just having a bit of a break from watching it, but don't completely rule out ever watching it.
Yeah.
Well, because also it's such a subjective thing. It's like, yes, of course, there's some things that you will get a lot of opinion that matches.
Yeah.
But I still think even then, not everybody will dislike something possibly for the same reasons. Like there could be something that somebody really likes, but they might agree on other things they don't like, but they might actually really like this one bit. And I just think it's like I've sort of said in streams before, like I know, for example, The Witcher season 2, there was a lot of negative views of that, but I really loved the second season. But I can see why some people didn't like it. But it just sort of shows that for me, but I think that's because for me, what I love most about that world is the characters.
Yeah.
And I think I can forgive some of the storylines not being as good because I think they did such a good job at getting those characters from the books and the games like crystal perfect. And it's sort of, you can see, and it's the interactions as well, I think, and that's what I love about that world. It's the way that Geralt interacts with Ciri, or Yennefer interacts with Geralt, and all those things. And I think that they got down to a T. It's just some of the more overarching plot stuff people didn't like.
Yeah,
but it's
that's it.
It's prioritize, I think, a lot as well.
Exactly, and that's it. I mean, it's down to each individual's perception, what they are going to sort of latch onto and get enjoyment out of in a series. So yeah, I think there's certain series that we know ourselves well enough to look at and say, yeah, I'm not watching that. But then we have other series where, you know, if we listen to too many opinions, you can get yourself a little bit depressed over whatever it is, or just never get around to watching it. So I think it's just a question of timing, you know, and having a little bit of a breather from the intensity of the opinions out there, but then going back and watching stuff, you know, because it's there's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and we're all very passionate about the things that we love, and, you know, things like Doctor Who and other things. And it does make us very passionate because we do love it. But I think the important thing is to have a break when we need to, so that when we do come back and talk about it, we can sort of have fun and just, you know, maybe agree to disagree on some things, but still have fun at the same time. Because that's what fandom used to be about.
Bro, even on the or actually it took me I used actually stopped watching in because Charlotte would be constantly talking about it. And
well, no, let's be honest. It would be me going from excited to moaning at you about it. It would be one of the two.
I mean, so I thought, what the hell? Let's give us a go, and that's how the reviews came about the channel, and the first post was its insistence and passion for that particular series. It kind of made me say to myself, it's as a show, because no one because no one yeah, just sci-fi also like so yeah, so chat about something completely different is was challenging in the beginning, but like I'm enjoying it, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fun to sort of branch out and try something a little bit different, because it also get your mind off of the other shows, and you can focus on something different. And it really does help to sort of clear your mind. Then when you go back and talk about another show that you love, you're sort of, it's like a palate cleanse, if you will. You sort of can go back to it then and don't feel completely as overwhelmed as you were before. And I do love the fact that there's so many different types of shows out there. One of the shows on the cop show sort of side of things that I like is Vera.
My parents watched that. I've never watched it.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I love all the actors in that as well. They're all really great actors. And that I find absolutely relaxing to watch, because even though it's a police drama, it's like you said about the Witcher. You just get really focused on the characters and how they interact with each other and things like that. And I just love all the characters in that, and I do really enjoy that. So what did we watch recently again? We actually rewatched Jonathan Creek from the very start of the first one. We rewatched that. And that was fun.
That had Sheridan Smith in it for a bit, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
She was
Sheridan Smith,
like type of character.
Yeah, Julia Sawalha was his. And what we liked about that was we were noticing he was very doctorish, and his co-stars were kind of very companionish. So, and Verity Lambert was involved, I believe, with Jonathan Creek. So it sort of made us smile a little bit, because you kind of have a bit of a doctorish vibe with Alan Davis. And then he had these sort of quirky friends that would be sort of his companions throughout. And Caroline Quentin, Julia Sawalha, Sheridan Smith. You just had some great actresses that were there, supporting him, but yet they all stood out. They all had the spotlight, and they all are very well remembered. It's not like you just think, oh, I only remember Jonathan Davis. Look at all the actresses that acted with him that are just so well known.
Well, but if you think about what Verity did in Doctor Who, and it's like, because obviously I'm watching classic now, and I adore Barbara. You just think, I think honestly, Barbara would only we only would have gotten Barbara from somebody like Verity, who was a woman who just could do her job damn well, and you could tell when she wanted to do female characters, she didn't want to sort of make them these untouchable people. They were very human. They were very down to earth. They had their flaws, but they were these brilliant sort of. Also, obviously, because with Barbara, she's a teacher, so she's really intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not perfect. And you can see her sort of going that learning curve of having to almost lose a bit of the strictness that you just have by being a teacher almost. And sort of, and I think that was Verity. The more I hear about people who worked with her and who knew her, you just think, she almost put a bit of herself in the good sense into Barbara. And I just think it makes sense then in Jonathan Creek that we got these really good female characters then.
Yeah,
because that
they were.
To do.
They were, and they were all entertaining, and they were all, very much sort of show stealers in a lot of ways. They were just really, really great characters. So you can see how well that dynamic works. When you go back and you watch some of these shows that had a similar dynamic, to Doctor Who. And we're just having a lot of fun, like going back and watching some of these, like say Life on Mars, watching that again. And there's a lot available now, like on BritBox and things like that. Things I've never seen, because I've only, been in the UK since 2008. So, I'm still finding things that I haven't seen yet, that I'm enjoying as well. And one show that I absolutely love is Still Game, and I know Daniel loves that. Oh my God, I was crying laughing. That is such a funny show.
I love it. actually trying to get Charlotte to actually
But it's a Scottish show, isn't it?
Yes,
So
definitely.
how would I find like?
Well, it's actually
it's actually on film.
Oh, is it on
is it
Netflix?
Netflix at the moment? I don't think. Well, we didn't watch it on Netflix. I'm trying to remember where we watched it now. Darren might remember, but I don't know if it's on BritBox or
I think it might be on iPhone.
maybe.
Yeah, but they don't tend to put really old stuff on iPlayer. I know they've been putting some more older stuff because they realise that it's a good way to get traction, but I don't think they're as good on iPlayer for older stuff still.
It is. It says watch now for free on iPlayer. Apparently,
oh right, that's
9 seasons.
list, then.
Yeah. Oh, it's right up there with Black Books and Father Ted for us. It's and the IT Crowd. It's just the go-to comedies that we can watch over and over and over again.
If I tell you that Omston makes the appearance in the 8th series
in one episode, so I'm going to watch all 9 series to get him.
Does he really?
Episode.
Martin Constant.
Yeah,
he's a Scottish actor. It sounds like this is almost like the running joke in the UK when it comes to
I suppose. Well, I wouldn't have recognized him at the time because obviously I didn't know of him until we started watching Line of Duty.
Young Daniel in it. It sounds like this is something he would have done when he was quite young.
Well,
he must have been, yeah.
The 8th series was 2008 or 7.
Oh, I might not have been.
I can't remember.
Says 2002 it started. Does that sound right? Yeah, 2002, and the final episode was March 2019. According to this.
And there's and there's LMs of and there's else of S has a guest appearance in series in 5 years.
Does he really?
Of course he does.
I can.
So they've kind of got a who can action and
that's cool.
Well, Charlotte.
Yeah, but
I can guarantee that
Doctor Who has a good roots in Scotland with quite a few actors, so there's always going to be a Who connection. I think if you've got anything with enough Scottish people in it.
Yeah, it's such a funny show, and it's very endearing. You get very attached to the characters. It's loads of fun. I can virtually guarantee that we'll be watching that again and again, over the years, because it's so funny. Oh God.
But I've seen every episode almost over 400,000 400,000
I can understand why.
At this point, and this I was to go and see to go and see the shows at the Hydro and Gill as
that must have been cool.
So I'm to go and see all three I've shows.
Oh, that's cool. I bet those were fun as well.
And to be honest, because the show so up you and he had also the show had on so po or you are up here in school went as he had to put on some extra set the high job is
Wow.
oh aim is actually pretty popular.
And that says a lot about it as well, that it is popular with people, that it especially in Scotland, that it's that popular. It's just always going to be one of those shows. I have a great love of Black Books. That's one of my absolute favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
As well as the IT Crowd, and many others. But and Father Ted, and we can always go back and watch those, no matter how many times we've seen them before, and they always lift your spirit. They always give you a laugh. Every year our Christmas tradition isn't like traditional Christmas movies. Every year we have to watch the Father Ted Christmas special. So it's a bit of a joke now. So every Christmas, that's like our big thing to watch.
Well, that's the thing with comedy, though. I find that with more certain stand-ups. I've seen the sort of the sketch or the joke when it's been like a recording so many times that I will laugh even though I know what the punchline is.
Yeah.
I find that with Peter Kay, and I think a lot of that though is his sense of humor. I can relate to a lot because obviously he's a very northern comedian, and it's like you would only get those sort of jokes if you've either lived up here or you've got family.
Yeah.
It's like there's a reason why up north we would say, "Oh, put Big Light on," and that is something we legitimately say. But it was so funny down south because they just felt like it was such an odd phrase, to say. But we're like, no, this is what we say all the time. Like, if you want to see something, put Big Light on, and it's just that's Peter Kay, and it's just so
that's brilliant.
That sort of thing of if you've got that sensibility.
Yeah. That's what's fun about comedy. You get a real education as well about different areas and different parts of the world and different parts of the UK, and that's what I love about it. It has a different sensibility, all the different ones that are set in different places.
Yeah, or like another famous K thing is garlic bread. Like, and I could picture this sort of very old-fashioned dad from that part of the world being at a wedding and being like, "What's this? Garlic bread?" And you could just picture this person who he's describing. What? And then being like, "What's this?" And then liking it, but still being like offended by it at the same time.
Yep, still have to call it out.
But you see, send the problem FM comedy to I've commented even all that there isn't a star and out sort of comedy he showed that all just basically up now rap now to be honest, and especially on the BBC, to be honest with you, on the BBC it's hard to wear any good comedy shows on, and also so that there is a gap in the market for all it, and there's to be honest, I don't hold out. I don't hold out. I don't hold out much hope for a EBC for a EBC because if you look at BBC Three, he's schedule because of or it by as a terrestrial channel. You just see the schedule for that channel, and it's all just reality TV shite. To be honest, there's not really
I'm with Daniel.
agent, and there's not really agent thing on that station.
Well,
To be
the
honest,
thing that just baffled me is because I can remember when BBC was like a thing. BBC Three was like a proper channel, and they had it was the way I always viewed it growing up, and I think it was that at a point it was their testing ground. It was if the BBC wasn't quite sure of something, they put it on BBC Three as like to see what reaction it would get.
Yeah.
And so that's why we had Torchwood on there. It's why we had Gavin and Stacey, which is really big in the UK, and a few other shows. They sort of got Being Human. Toby Whithouse, his show got sort of started on BBC Three. So it was always seen as this sort of we're not quite. That's how I saw it, and I think, and you could see it with the variety of stuff that was on there. That this wasn't typical BBC One and BBC Two programming. It was sort of let's test this out. So that's how it worked when it did, and they brought it back, and I'm like, what's your big, like, different type of show?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
you wouldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
But they like you said, they've just got, by from what I can see, like reality shows and some of the comedies that are like old repeats,
like safe shows.
Yeah,
they've just put safe shows on there.
And then it's absolutely trash. They don't have a big because they don't have a big on that channel similar to the likes of Torchwood or like Evening Easy or anything like that though, as I think that channel will be okay till last will be okay till last X months to be.
Oh, they're gonna have to announce something, surely. You think in the next couple of months as like here's like from this creator or this sort of writer or because I was saying, have you seen Being Human, Wendy?
No, and when you mentioned it, I was just thinking to myself, I need to see that because that does seem like one I would like.
Well, the sort of tagline and the most basic description of it is obviously it's Whithouse, so it's a bit weird, and you can probably tell that from his Doctor Who stuff. It's this idea of supernatural with a bit of real life, but still quite gory when it needed to be. And the basic premise is you've got a flat. I think I can't remember where it was set. I can't remember. It was. I think it's Bristol. I could be wrong.
Sort of seen like I've seen stills of it and like a few bits and pieces about it, but I don't know like the whole.
Yeah, I think it's a house in Bristol, and you've got 3 housemates, which sounds really like that's your run-of-the-mill thing, but you've basically got a ghost, a vampire, and a werewolf. And it's sort of their interactions and them trying to have these normal lives as much as they can, despite being their conditions. And it's got Russell Tovey, who people might know. He's Adrian
Alonso.
Turner. Yeah, and Paul Dark, Adrian Turner. No, I probably said his name wrong. So it sort of launched him as well. So it launched quite a few big actors. And it got, I will admit this, the last couple of series weren't as good, but the first couple of series were really good. So if you've got time, I would recommend giving Being Human a go.
Yeah, cheers, I will. It's definitely on the list, I think, to check out.
I mean, Albert was kind of up on the out and it was airing. I never even gave it a shot when it originally aired because is I kind of had a snobby attitude when I was younger on often will be better than or heard that this will be in because any other a show be inferior and that is my attitude back when I was um that was my attitude back when I was um and I was um and I was a lot on or basic so like I think if who been in the I think if who been in also it's in it's kind of gave me the I cup the it's kind of gave me the I cup the arse to try something
Yeah.
different to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the way, it's a good way of looking at it. I mean, it's freed us up to have a look at other things that we probably would have,
Yeah.
been too distracted to really bother with. So yeah.
Do we think though, because obviously going back to BBC Three quickly, do you think Russell could maybe have some possible things he might want to do on BBC Three? Because obviously Confidential was launched on there and Torchwood. Or do you think he's going to want to have his own? I think it's been floated around. We could have a whole channel for Doctor Who, or we could have like a streaming thing for Doctor Who. Do you think, or he'll do something for BBC Three?
I think I think he might try another bit confidential to be honest because confidential was like a popular is like a popular
It was, yeah.
But you don't actually want to and actually eeks and I just want to put it out there RT and ounce something you are killing me here come out and speak.
Daniel wants more than a producer announcement. RTD.
Yes.
But that's what I think Russell's doing though. I think he's clever. He knows he can sort of slowly say what his plan is and sort of reveal it in his time. And I honestly think that's the approach he's doing. What do you think, Wendy?
I agree. I think Russell's extremely clever and knows his product very well. And so I think we're not going to get everything at once. And I think whether or not he's going to go down the same route of like a Confidential type show, I don't really know. It's kind of hard to say. I don't know if it would be. It was quite cool at the time, but I don't know if it would really catch on as much now. It would depend on how much he switched it up and what he did with it. And I think it's sort of a step at a time. I think let's get the show back in front of audiences and back to the point where people really looked forward to seeing it every week and reinvigorate it to that stage where we're all excited about it again, so that then a show like Confidential would be much more interesting to us, I think.
Because he has to have an era that's working, basically.
Yeah, that's it, because nobody's going to care otherwise,
So
Exactly.
That's why I do think we're going to get spin-offs from Russell, but I don't think he's going to announce them out the gate. I think let the series settle first, and then you'll start to hear spin-offs.
Yes. Romana, calling Romana. Can I have a Romana series, please, Russell?
But see, to be honest, it's all very asking for and but you've kind of got to get you've kind of got to get the actual inch back on its feet.
Yeah, you've got to build your house back up again first, and then add on to it. Definitely.
And as well, he's got a 60th first, so he doesn't even have to address his like main series in a sense. He could just tease us and reveal stuff for the 60th.
And apparently it's going to be carried over or into episodes.
But that's what the rumours. That's basically all the spoilers, because obviously there's so much fun stuff, let's put it that way, going on at the moment when it comes to rumours. They're sort of crazy and they're sort of everywhere, and this is what I do, you have to look for patterns almost to try and decipher what could have. And the pattern we keep seeing is it's not just going to be like a one-off episode, it's probably going to be like a set of mini movies or some extended episodes, like 3 probably at the least, I would guess.
Yeah,
make it a proper event thing.
Yeah, I've thought about it too much in that regard, really, so I'm not too sure. But it's going to have to be something that's going to grab people and definitely keep people looking forward to the next one. So I'm excited and I'm cautious at the same time, because as we all know, we've had a rough ride. We've had a very difficult time. So yeah, I'm starting to get excited again, but I'm also keeping both my feet on the ground at the moment, sort of just saying, you know what? I'm not going to assume anything, because I don't want to get my heart broken again. But the fact that we have Russell, I think I can look at that and say, yeah, okay, this is good. This is a positive for now. It's if we have any chance of having that show back to the way to a show that we really want to see again, I think this is the opportunity for that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Charlotte, what do you think?
So I think I remember when it was announced, and I can remember it because I came home from work because they announced it like 3 in the afternoon, didn't they? And I just saw like my messenger blow up because I knew something had happened, because I don't usually get that many messages. And I sort of looked through them, and I remember looking at yours, and you were like, I think this is real. I think this is legit. Have a look at this. And then I saw that obviously you sent me like the BBC like news proper article. And I was like, no, this looks legit. And then of course I looked on social media and I was like, oh God, no, people are going ballistic. This is happening.
It's probably because the reason why I didn't actually know what to make of the film was because what a hoax are what hoax are and shit on about. So that's how I never really knew what make of it. So that's how I sent you the press release, because you're usually saying you're usually spotting, and I said bullshit, because there's been a there's been a couple of posts on social media for more than announcement that actually essential and Charlotte, it's something like that. Charlotte, so like that. You're full because that's a load of horse shit, basically.
Oh, I can remember. What did you send me? The most recent one when the Mirror picked it up as like
Yeah.
the Doctor's going to be female, and you sent it to me with like this.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! Like I was getting my hopes up, and I went, Daniel, read the actual information. It says Matt Strevens. I can never pronounce his name, and it says basically the BBC like rough bloke, and it says a load of names and stuff that doesn't match up. So this is not real. And you were like, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you just have to read into it a bit more and just have a look at these things.
Yeah, and I think, but I think what happens too is we're just so used to disappointment lately that the first impression is to go down that route because you think, okay, I can't be disappointed because this already looks bad. I'm not going to get my hopes up. And sometimes I don't even read stuff because I think, you know what? No, I'm not reading that because it's going to be what it's going to be because it'll like keep me up. It just starts to eat away, at your confidence. One thing that just struck me. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it does, and it's like this. But the way I look at things is, we can't condemn it or we can't say it's going to happen until it happens.
Yeah.
So just have that bit of hope that it won't.
Yeah.
Until you get to that inevitable point, if it's going to happen, is the way I sort of do it.
Yeah.
What kind of struck me just now, just thinking about it, is if Doctor Who had a completely new, unknown name to all of us taking it over, right? Or even a known name, but not RTD and co. I would still just be completely numb. I would just be kind of like, I don't care. It's going to be what it's going to be. And I'm not getting my hopes up. But the fact that it's RTD, they got my attention. They got my attention back.
That's why Russell's back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whether they know he has that emotional.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us, especially like me and Daniel, and obviously I can't remember, Wendy, what you watched first, but for us who either got introduced with New Who or started watching it just through the New Who run, Russell's got that emotional connection, and I think even if we don't realize it, maybe we didn't until we heard that announcement, and it just got, because we saw so many people, didn't we, on stream just really get emotional talking about it.
Yeah,
and definitely. It was this release.
It was.
A release for me was, and I said this on Dan's stream, I think, I didn't want the show to go out on the current run. That was sort of it. That was the sinking feeling I had before the announcement that they're either going to put it on hiatus or they're just going to not even going to try again. And I was just thinking, I don't want it to go out in this state because I think the show's better than that. And I don't want my final sort of watching of it to be in this state where I got to the point where I was hating some decisions and I was really not liking the current Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the thing that sort of got me with this show in 2005 was the Doctor.
Yeah.
And it's always that's the thing that gets me emotional.
Yeah.
It's why,
and that's it. He is the heart and soul and center of the show, so and always will be. So like for me, I started out with classic Who. I mean, my first Doctor was Tom. And I'm in the States, it was quite difficult to see Doctor Who, and the public television stations used to buy episodes and then we'd see them, but they would put them on at like really weird hours, like, and I can remember it was quite hard to sort of find episodes. And I had a friend at a convention that I met, and he used to send me, he used to record it off telly, because in New Jersey they had more episodes on the public broadcasting station there. So he'd record them and post them to me. And these were like big VHS, tapes. So I had a sort of sprinkling of Tom's episodes across a few different series. So when Russell brought it back in 2005, I was just like a kid at Disneyland. It was so exciting to imagine that it was coming back. And then when we saw it, it was just like, oh my God, he's done it. He's done it.
Yeah.
So it still had that. It had the newness of Russell's era, and it took it in a very different direction, obviously, to the way the old series was put out. But it still had that magic about it, and that's what I miss the most is that flutter, that little heart flutter that you would get, thinking about when the next season was coming.
Yeah. I feel the same, but with the most recent announcement of obviously if all back as well as the producer. That's kind of reinforced my confidence because he's assembling the he's assembling the team that he got all together that made the show a big success in 2005, and I think as well obviously adding all and back into the pictures kind of made me a bit more confident in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, I think as well it's a sign also that experience is coming back. Actual experienced hands who know what they're doing, who have got here in the industry because they're damn good at their jobs and they're talented. Because that's the era when, and I'm not saying there is some, obviously Russell is, we can tell with Russell through the years, if you're a friend of Russell, if you work with Russell, he's very loyal and you can see that in him. So it's not, I'm not denying that there's some, he knows and he's worked and he's friends with these people. So, but that's the thing, they all would have come up in the industry in the 2000s. And that's when it was more talent based in that time in telly.
Yes, it was.
You could get a job off of basically physical traits. And I'm sort of, what I'm getting at by saying that.
Yeah.
You actually got your job because you could produce something.
But the thing is, I also have more confidence in this group of people because I've seen the end product of what they created. I have more confidence in them to, if we are going to see changes down the line, I have more confidence in them to have the talent to be able to make changes, but do it in a way that is going to keep the wider audience watching and entertained and accepting of those changes. It is no, it can't just be, it feels like it's just been chucked at us. Somebody's come along, jumped in the sandbox, kicked us all out and said, we are taking over the sandbox now. You guys don't belong anymore.
Yeah.
And it was just the wrong way to go about it. If you're gonna do change, you gotta know what you're doing.
I mean, and it's kind of, and that was kind of the reason how I've became such a controversial figure on social media and stuff in regards to the show, because I felt as I felt like the majority I felt like the majority of you that's in the chat, and obviously the two is on the panel as well. I felt as though that I was being in silenced. So, and if you know, and if you know me, so if you know me by now, I can get I can almost get very, I can almost get very and very combative is what Charlotte, even Charlotte, even Charlotte, will tell you.
Oh yes, you. If it's a bad day, or if somebody really says something, or the Scottish charm. That's how I refer to it as. Comes out the Scottish charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Scottish charm now. So you get, I just get so annoyed sometimes as well, and it's one of the reasons why I tend to sort of stay away from the main conversation streams, that are going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes on Twitter and things like that. I'll chuck my 2 cents in once in a while, but I tend to try to take it easy on those, because I just get so wound up, because I have such love for this show and such respect for this show that I just feel too strongly about it, and I just want to let it all out. But
yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, and I've said, and I think this is healthy. You just have to have days where you just do something completely disconnected. Like that, whether that's watch a completely different show that's nothing to do with it all. Like I like my games. I like my RPG games. So if I've got a day, some days I will have nights like that when I'm just like, do you know what? I just want to play my game, because then I'll be focused on that. I'll be like playing those characters, and it's nothing to do with like current day media or anything, because that's what I love about a game. It's so singular and nothing else.
Yeah, it is literally just takes you right out of the moment and puts you in a different place entirely. Yeah, that's it. And that's one of the things we've been doing is going back and watching some of the older shows and just enjoying those, and not really focusing too much on what's going on right now, because it just spoils your mood too much. And then, especially if you're busy and you're working and there's stuff going on there and there's stuff going on, in other parts of the world and around you, you forget how nice it is just to turn something on and just escape into it and not think of anything else.
Oh, sorry, night, Kelly. See you.
Oh, good night, Kelly.
Thank you for being in the chat, love. Have good fun at your meeting.
Yeah, so I think I just love, I want to have that feeling about Doctor Who again, because that did used to be our escape. But I want to, there's so many other things now that actually it's allowed us to explore and get into and experience that, it's been fine. It's off TV for us. It's, the show's finished for us, and as far as we're aware and concerned about. And then if it comes back, fantastic.
Yeah, we all sort of, if we can have that feeling again of Rose, I see weirdly for Eccleston. I know for a lot of people I've heard they connected with when he does the speech about how he views the world.
The turn of the earth.
Yes, that speech. And I think, well, for me, it was Dalek. That was when I was like, oh, now I get what you're doing with this character a bit. I was intrigued, like I said, the Doctor was this like mysterious figure for me up until Dalek, but it wasn't until Dalek. But I know for a lot of people, it was that speech with the turning of the Earth, and I just think we all just want that moment again, or a moment like a Dalek moment, where you just sort of sit there and you go, "That's the Doctor. That's the character that I can just connect to."
Yeah.
But here's the thing though with Russell, I think in a weird way, because he had his things, you could tell the first run he liked certain things and he wrote certain things and he'd like to do. I think because he's been away for so long, he's not going to want to repeat himself.
No, that's fair enough.
I think he'll want to show what he can do different. He'll want to show
and I've
changed.
I think as well that you'll be getting a sort of more sort of RTDism. It'll be because he's had some time away for the show, and he's obviously only have had to mature a bit, so it'll be interesting to actually see. It should be interesting to actually see to see what maturity actually
comes up with.
Well, it's not just him. Also, you got Julie, who when she was with Russell the first time, she wasn't nowhere near the sort of acclaim she's got now. She's been winning Bad Wolf. That's her production company with Jane Tranter. They've had his Dark Materials, which did very well for the BBC. Discovery of Witches did very well for Sky. So she's sort of blossomed and got even better and more sort of better at her craft. So you've got her, because I do think she's going to have just as much of. I've got a feeling, obviously, we don't know, this is just us all predicting stuff, but Bad Wolf is her production company.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to have just as much of a say as Russell. Obviously, Russell's the creative. I'm not saying Julie isn't, but Russell's a writer.
Yeah, well, they all have incredible skill sets to bring to bear on this, and it bodes really well. It bodes really well. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. And they've got my attention, which is something that was gone. In the last few years.
I think we'll just have to see, and a lot of people have said this, we'll just have to see who they cast.
Yeah.
I think I said this to Daniel, I don't know how you feel, Wendy. I'm going to be probably a bag of nerves and excitement when they announce what date they're revealing that.
Yes,
I'm going to be an absolute mess.
Yeah, I know. As much as I want to say, I don't care. I'm going to be, we're both going to be quite nervous and quite interested to see what happens. And it's like the night before Christmas, isn't it? It's just like, is it going to be, So yeah, it'll be nice to have that excitement back again. I just hope and pray that we're happy with it.
And to be honest, I really do hope that some sort of an announcements, even if it's just a companion or a new or something to it is actually it is actually start on a conversation.
Well, do you know what? I honestly think the next one's going to be and we can maybe all do a prediction. I think we're going to get composer next.
Oh, come on.
If you think about just the way he's been doing it, it's producer, it's obviously Russell, it's script editor also has been announced from Big Finish. So he's doing all.
I know who he wants.
Oh, see, I'm a bit torn on this. I love Murray, but I think I think Russell could find a new, just as talented person.
Yeah.
And it would be a bit different.
I'm afraid I'll have to disagree with you, Charlotte. I do.
No, there's your cat. Mine's gone downstairs now.
I do kind of think Murray has to come back at least for the moment, to be honest, because I can or however you pronounce his name, because I'm not very good with pronunciations. His music was just so boring and so.
Well, I think the problem was, and I do agree, he just didn't suit the show.
I agree,
I don't
Charlotte.
think it's that he was boring, and I just think in another show that music would have fit.
Yes, and I don't take anything away from his talent necessarily, but I think, as you said, he was the wrong choice for that show.
I think,
in my opinion,
I think Murray I know Classic had a very different approach to music, but I think even Classic understood this, that you need something that you notice a little bit music. You need music that sort of heightens almost emotion or scenes or characters.
Yeah.
Even Classic had that, like, if you think about Tom's Last Story, that music fits a doctor leaving. It's very sort of down in a good way, and it's sort of plodding in a good way, and it suits. You feel that it sort of adds to the fact that Tom's going.
Yeah.
So even Classic did this, I think, obviously in a different way to Murray. So I think that's now what we associate with Who. And to go from that to very atmospheric music, it just...
Yeah, I think it was sort of... Yeah.
So I think we need to do with a bit of adventure again, a bit of, like, pomp, a little bit of... something about it again.
I just still remember how exciting the proms were. Remember watching the proms?
Yeah.
Oh, and that music would start. And then you'd have like the Cybermen marching down the steps, and you'd have Daleks there, and and it was like, it would make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. It was just so exciting. And that's what I miss, is that wonderful music.
I always remember watching one, and it stood out to me because it wasn't one with like Cybermen, and it was when they were playing the regeneration clips back to back of all the Doctors, and obviously the music changed to suit the Doctor. So it would go from the classic stuff with the classic Doctors to what we know as Nine's theme, Ten's, and obviously the music that he was playing, like the operatic. And then we got
you instantly knew
a Madman in like Matt's theme. And
I love Matt's theme.
I remember just watching that and just thinking, God, like there's history, there's the show, and it's through music, and it's brilliant that you can.
Yeah.
And you could also hear the reaction, which was lovely, to each Doctor.
Yeah.
Like, they all got this sort of yay sort of moment, and it was lovely.
Yeah, it was. And remember, like when you were watching the proms, they put the camera on a little child, and the look on the child's face would be just like absolute awe, and that's what I miss.
He would like pop on the stage and be like, right, I'm just doing this in character. And you were like, you could see the kids' faces, just light up.
So Devon, announced the season 2 into classic Bill. Rory is set in one of the interviews on it is going to be from Satan and from Satan himself I mean, I'm just curious. What are you? So what are your thoughts about equal it being in equal it being in it on a special just for season 20 and for season 20. I think it's a bit of a random choice.
Yeah, I'm really rubbish with like season numbers.
Yeah.
So season 22 is who? Who is that?
Colin.
Oh, Collins. Yeah.
That was Colin.
Yeah. I can't really think because I'm just looking him up now. I heard about this. Yeah. Michael Grade. Oh, that guy.
He was the
yeah.
head of drama, was he?
Yeah, he was the head of
yeah. Okay, I'm with you now. Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't. I wish that he wasn't.
Yeah.
I wish that he wasn't on it.
Yeah.
But you know, there's not a lot we can do about it, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think it'd be interesting to see like why he thought in the like what. Obviously, they'll ask him like, why did you want to like, why did you choose this, or why did you allow this to happen, and all the behind the scenes stuff at the time.
Was he the one that? I mean, he like basically wanted to kill the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I think you're gonna get a lot of interest. I think it'll be interesting at least, just to see his perspective.
Yeah. I mean,
I just think he's a vindictive prick.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree with that. That's pretty much what I would say as well.
I mean, I was actually really when I saw his name actually been mentioned because he was the guy that actively wanted to who and all these other big shows on the BBC.
He just strikes me as you know, I don't want to see his face on the DVD. You know, I don't want to look at him because I do find now that I realize who you're speaking of, he does conjure that frustration, you know, of somebody actually thinking that poorly of the show to want to damage it, you know. So, I mean, we'll probably have the set, but you know, definitely probably skip past that.
Yeah, that
bit. Like, I'm not watching that.
I know, but I just think he's become such a sort of this big figure that it would almost be a bit odd if he wasn't included in a way in the extras.
Yeah, I suppose.
He was such a pantomime villain almost.
Yeah.
So it's like we want to hear from like I said to hear why he thought that, and maybe like it'd be interesting now if looking back if he thinks he had the right idea at the time or he actually didn't. Like I can understand why from certain classic fans his name has got that much of a reaction, and it might have. You're probably not the only ones who had that reaction, but I think it's almost. It's that thing of, well, if we can get him sat down and actually ask him questions, and it looks like it's probably going to be quite a They're not gonna. They're gonna ask the hard questions. Is the vibe I got from the trailer. They're not gonna be like, oh, that's the softball questions.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I mean, yeah, but you should. I mean, yeah, but you should have someone like you should have someone like myself asking them to
Oh, Daniel, you would so
Now that I would pay for. I'd pay double for that.
It would definitely be more fun. Yes, no denying
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You'd probably get
Yeah.
one question in, and then he'd just run.
I don't actually hold I don't actually hold back. So can you imagine if can you imagine if he was in the same room as me? All hell would break loose. All hell would break loose in that room. I tell you.
Yeah, there's a reason he didn't do fan conventions, was there? After
Yeah.
he's not gone out in the wild, so this
No.
is quite safe for him to do a nice interview for the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
No, but it's like I said, it's something. Like it's got, but I think they did a good little trailer anyway. That was a really nice.
Yeah, that actually was a good yeah, that actually was
The
a
trailer
good
with
trailer.
Nicola?
Yeah, the Perry
Yeah.
little trailer they did. I thought that's probably one of my favourite ones so far. Actually,
Yeah,
I think
but actually, I mean, yeah, it was actually kind of, but I know fact, and I felt.
well, what I liked about that one is I felt the other ones were just a bit random. I understood roughly that they were obviously they were carrying on a bit of something from the story, but this one just felt like it actually fit as she's come back after so many years to visit, obviously, or to pay homage to her husband, who's the king. So it makes sense, and for them to sort of fill in a bit of the gaps, whereas it was like the Bonnie one, it was like an Apprentice rip-off. No, Dragon's Den rip-off. And like the Ace one was just a bit too random. Like I sort of got what they were trying to do with the Ace one.
Yeah.
This one felt like it was just a bit more of a better overall sort of.
Yeah,
I get it. And Nicola, I loved her. I think she acted actually really well in that. For all the flack she gets.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice to see.
It was nice.
It was, and it was a more serious side of her, and obviously a mature Perry as well. So it was lovely to see Nicola, and it was a really nice intro piece. I think, as you said, I think one of the best ones so far.
Yeah. I know. Because I have that. Because I have actually killed the few the bill the offsets, and they do have some good special features on them and documentaries and things like that on. So it's an extra. So it's an extra bit of. So it's an extra. So it's an extra bit of fun for all of us the documentaries.
Yeah.
Oh, and hi Dan. Sorry, Dan Facebook. She just popped in.
Yeah.
So, hello, Dan. Great to see you.
Yeah.
And Dan, I've carried on watching Life on Mars. So I did say I was going to. I have watched a few more. Just time. So I'm going to get through them eventually.
Yeah. So yeah, have so have you is actually have you he's given the given the bill who is a shot because they're really no.
I don't have a player. I'm going to be blunt. I don't have a Blu-ray player, so they always look nice, but I've not actually got round to getting one.
If you have if you have a pill, if you have a pill, you shouldn't in about the bill. Because that's what I used to the bill. On.
Well, like I said, I'm handheld the way I play games. I have a Switch, so. But no, they always look like that's what always does impress me about the Blu-rays. The amount of work you can obviously see they do with interviews and commentaries. Like I have some of the animations now. I have got some of the animations. So, but like I said, I've not got the Blu-rays yet. But they always just look like really. That sort of it's felt like for the last couple of years that's where the heart has gone in the brand. Very much to the Blu-rays. And that team,
I'd say that.
precisely. With they do the mini trailers, they get the actors back, they do these really in-depth conversations.
Yeah, I like some of the sort of segments where they have them sat on a sofa and they're sort of watching an episode. I don't like some of them because I found some of them a little bit cringe. But there was one that we were watching recently, and it was Nicola and Katie. And those two are brilliant. They're so much fun to listen to. And Katie is Katie. She's fantastic, and she's just so cute. And some of the comments she makes, they were watching Tom stories. We were watching the extras on the Tom disc, and it was just really funny to watch the two of them watching the show.
See, to be honest with you, the thing that kind of puts me off of the behind the sofas is Janet.
Oh yeah, Daniel doesn't like.
Sort of sort of a snark.
Yeah, I don't care for that. No.
Wasn't says funny when she as it comes across as in spirit.
Yes, and the one that was really annoying the crap out of me when we were watching the other day was Matthew Waterhouse, Adric.
Yeah.
He was, I think it's Matthew Waterhouse, isn't it? He was watching with Colin, and I was ready to like punch the screen because I was just like, shut up. It was just some of the stuff he was saying just seemed very dismissive and very sort of a little bit like little pompous, and I just, oh, come on, get with it. And, I understand they're looking at it from a completely different side of things that we as viewers see. So they're looking at it a little bit differently, but still there's plenty of other actors that have been in it. Even actors who didn't have the best of experiences with the show, who have to, who can make a comment and have a giggle, but don't come across, like you were saying, as sort of snarky or condescending. And that when we were watching some of the extras the other day, it was Colin and Matthew on the sofa, and I was just like, oh, this is doing my head in.
Okay, here's a fun question then, Wendy, because obviously we've got the 60th coming up, and I do think Russell, I think anyway, he's going to strive to have some classic. What companions, if they do bring them back, would you like to see come back? I think companions are more likely than doctors, so that's why I think companions are sort of more what we could possibly guess about.
Yeah, are we talking from any era?
Well, more classic. I'm thinking like what
more classic.
Who would you like to see if they could get them back for the 60th to be somehow involved in the
Oh.
actual episodes or whatever we get.
Yeah, Lala Ward,
Yeah.
Ace.
Yep.
I mean, they've all actually, we've seen a very different side, a better side to, oh my God, I must be getting tired. Sylvester's companion.
Oh, Ace.
His first
Ace.
companion.
Oh, Bonnie.
No,
Bonnie.
Bonnie. Sorry, Bonnie.
Yeah.
I think that some of the big Finnish stories probably and some of the books and things have maybe expanded some of her character as well. So I wouldn't even mind seeing, a different type of a Mel presentation come back. But definitely Ace, definitely Lala, if she would be willing to come back. Just trying to think. And obviously Louise would be wonderful to see her back again. Leela is probably next to Sarah Jane. Bless her. Leela is my favorite classical companion. So that would be my pick. I think.
But I think with them choices. How about you, Charlotte?
Oh, well, from classic, I love Jamie, but I think that'd be hard because Fraser was so young when he was Jamie, and now, God love him, he still was working obviously, and he's not like an old man, but I think it would be hard to explain the
Duggan.
changes. But I love Jamie, so I'd love to have something of him. I'm trying to, like I said, I think Katie, because I liked her and Sarah Jane when she did the episode with the doctor's funeral. I quite took to her because that was my first actually time seeing her in anything. Who I hadn't watched, so that was my introduction to Jo. So I think she'd be fun, and obviously she's so good with the fan base. I think she'd have so much fun.
Katie, definitely.
Yeah, she'd be brilliant on panels as well if they did like a lot of extra stuff like they did for the 50th. Trying to think what other classics. I'm obviously not as good as you guys.
I
agree. I think Ace would be interesting because
Yeah.
she had a lot more development in her initial run, so it'd be interesting what they could do on top of that.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite classic companions for sure.
So I think those two. Like I said, I'd like Jamie and probably Ace.
And
I do think it would be
K9.
Oh yes, some sort of version of K9. That'd be lovely, especially with God rest his soul, Bob. No longer. I think that'd be a lovely tribute to Bob if they could maybe find a way to have K9.
Yeah, and it's got to be John.
Oh yes, it's got to be the right voice.
Yeah.
And from New Who, that's interesting. So I know some people in the chat say New Who. Not Billy, because we've had. I don't want to see Rose come back. I think she's had her time.
I agree.
I think Amy, even though I love that era, I wouldn't want Amy and Rory back because I really love their ending, and I'd hate to sort of change
don't want that spoiled.
Yeah. I think it was such a lovely way they ended. Martha makes sense, and she'd be one of the easier ones.
Definitely.
Daniel wants Martha, and I could have so much fun ribbing him.
I haven't heard that before, Daniel.
No, you've never heard that.
I haven't heard that one before.
And no. Actually, I'll say somebody who's not said a lot. Bill. I'd like Bill Potts in some fashion. I think she'd be interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see Donna. And I know it's a little tricky with her story and how she ended. So and I'm with you, Charlotte, in the fact that if they do bring a companion back, I'm worried how it's going to impact their last story in the original series, whether it's the classical series or the New Who. So it would probably tend to depend on that. I can see Lee said, Donna, bring her back and fix her. That would be lovely to see that fix.
I wouldn't want her fixed.
that.
That was heartbreaking and such well done.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm really torn because I do love. I loved Catherine Tate and Tennant together. I thought they were a brilliant double act.
Oh yeah, I love them together. But that, and like I said, that was that ending scene. That scene when she's literally begging him to not do it, and like she's in tears.
Oh, I know.
That
We all were watching that. Yeah.
That was like, if you got emotional for stuff before that scene, I think that was just the one that broke us all.
Destroyed. Yeah.
Especially as like when he sees her in the special afterwards, or a couple of specials afterwards.
Yep. Yeah.
And
well, it was Wilf that did it as well.
Oh no!
Wilf totally destroys me.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was Wilf, but obviously Tennant's face, and that was, and that's why I understand why some people say Tennant's just a bit of like a good-looking boy, and that's why people like him. Yeah. But I'm sorry, you look at his face. Yeah. When he sees her again,
he's superb. He's a superb actor.
She's like, "Who are you?" Like, and you can just see he's just utterly
how heartbreaking it is.
Yeah.
But because she's also lost the worldliness that she gained by traveling with him. She's regressed back into a very sort of one-dimensional person again.
She's back to the loudmouth, isn't she? That's
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was absolutely heartbreaking. So I'm kind of like on Lee's train of thought there. I do wish that I'd love to see Donna be fixed somehow, but at the same time, I kind of see where you're coming from, Charlotte, where do we want to sort of completely undermine that entire scene? But it might not necessarily be undermining it if we do get a happy ending for her or a better, different ending for her, because we'd have the joy then of seeing it all work out for her, or or calling her back into service and then having to put her back in essence to sleep again.
Oh no, I don't think we're
I don't think we could candlelight, could we?
No.
That would be heartbreaking.
Oh no, don't put that. I've put that thought in my head.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no, don't do that.
No, they won't do that. They won't do that.
So anyway, guys, so just before we finish your shop, have you get any shout outs you want to say what you've got, or whatever, or whatever, or is there any channels that you think that deserves a mention? So we'll start with so is there any so is there any shout outs or channels that you want to shout out?
Oh, thank you very much. Well, Saturday nights we stream with PJ Maybe on his channel for Let's Talk Geeky. We usually start around 8 o'clock on a Saturday, and that's loads of fun. That's quite a free-form sort of chat. And then Wednesdays, PJ also does kind of a movie review stream, and each week we pick a different film to talk about, usually of the classic, on the classic side of things. And then I've obviously had the great honor to be asked to stream with Dan and Ian on Tuesdays for some of Dan's shows. So that's been absolutely brilliant. So the Spacebook, I would definitely shout out, and also Mr. Hyde's channel. He's recently invited me to co-host a B-movie horror stream, which we've been doing on Sundays, which I've been really enjoying as well. I'm really loving those. So yeah, so
Uh,
that's
all right. So yeah. So guys, yes. So it's I've been over to the PJ maybe get a subscriber us up. So and get a stuff hides up and get and the Facebook channel subs up as well. It's trying of
thank you guys.
everybody's channel. It's trying to get everybody's channel a boost. So Cheryl, is there any outs that you'd like to draw attention?
Well, obviously with Noel, the TARDIS Zone, I do some of the watch-alongs, the Doctor Who watch-alongs, and if it's just a general sort of his general chat streams when it's Doctor Who related, I usually
Yeah.
pop on if I can. And with the Spacebook with Dan, obviously I'm part of Type 40 now, and that's been such a lovely thing the last year to probably be a part of. And I don't want to give anything away, but we've got some really cool and fun sounding streams we're sort of planning in the background coming in the future, so tune into those. And obviously with me and Daniel with our line of duty, and we're going to do a few more of these sort of free flowing streams for a little bit, just because
Yeah.
we both want to just have a bit of a relax almost. So
Yeah.
more of these sort of streams like we've had tonight with guests, and just us sometimes keep in tune for those.
Obviously, you haven't sorted it out a guest for the next stream, because I'll probably do on these panel type streams before you get back into the reviews. So if you haven't been on the channel, and we would like to come on, or if you've never been on the channel before, send me a message, and we'll try and sort something out. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and to turn the bell on so that you don't miss any content from this channel. Thank you to my two panelists tonight, and thanks for all the and thanks for all the thanks for all this what for the past couple of years.
Yay.
Dan wants to know where you got your headphones from, Daniel.
I haven't like my Christmas or Christmas isn't, basically, yeah, Christmas isn't, because the other headphones are becoming a bit I'm becoming a bit so that I get used for my Christmas is from so if thanks for all the support, and thanks again to my and thanks again to my two brilliant panelists, and here
Thank you.
is the fantastic trail article was out this and here's the fantastic trailer from Propo.
I absolutely love this channel trailer.
And to was out the street.
Well done, Lee.